section of the show every week. These are plays, not so much that we broke them down, but we kind of like them a lot. Just kind of looking at them. Any plays that you see on the board, you don't know if you're gonna play it or not. You just might have something to play or a small edge on the game that you're looking at going into the weekend. And we're gonna call this our shooting from the hip.
That's pretty damn good. That's pretty good. Shooting from the hip, huh?
Where'd you get that hip right now?
Where'd you grab him from?
Oh, I just did the magic with the computer art stuff, man, and put it on there. But I got a couple of them that I'm shooting from the hip, plays that I kind of looked at already, but haven't quite pulled the trigger on them. But I got some type of edge or something on them that I like. And first one is this Auburn and Ole Miss game. I mean, Brady Harsin, he's gonna eventually just die off a little bit as he makes his transition on up out of there. And Ole Miss is there to give it to him. Ole Miss picked it up a little bit more on offense last week, and going into this game, I think that they get things back to the lane train way. And then also I have the Washington State-Oregon game. Now, if the quarterback for Oregon State, Washington State, Oregon State. The quarterback for Oregon State, Nolan, he's questionable. If he comes back, we know that Oregon State is already a team that plays really well at home. If they get that quarterback back versus this Washington State team, they definitely take care of business at home after some of these great efforts that they put together against some of these other teams. The other one that I seen was Maryland and Indiana. I kind of like Maryland over Indiana. Indiana kind of stunk up the field a little bit last week, and I don't really see them recovering that. Whereas Maryland is kind of on the upslope right here. I just kind of feel Maryland coming in that spot right there. And I think I got one more. Oh, also I kept this one a little bit, but I didn't do too much with it, and it's one of my plays with the numbers, and that's jumping back, fading Bowling Green. You got Bowling Green, not so much fading Bowling Green, but the over in the Bowling Green and Miami, Ohio game. I think they underrated Miami, Ohio a little bit. They still a little overrated this Bowling Green team. But in this game right here, because of Miami, Ohio's defense, I think Bowling Green does get loose and score a few points, and it's a pretty low total, and I think we get over that at 47.5. And last but not least, I kind of like the Illinois-Minnesota game. It's going to be a great game for the Big Ten. But the problem with that game is Illinois has the top defense, and Minnesota has the top offense. And, you can't really tell which one is going to evolve in these situations. Although it's a great angle, like it's going to go haywire either way. But I don't know what side I like what they doing at Illinois. They slowing it down. They playing good defense. But then I like what they doing at Minnesota with Fleck. They really getting after team scoring, and they playing a little bit of defense too. But they kind of more offensive loaded. So those is all mine. Shooting from the hip. Let me run that clip back for you, Big Ragu. Let me let you get your clip together for the shooting.
Load my gun up. Go ahead. While that guy's loading his up, I want to load mine up.
Yeah, go ahead and load yours.
I'm gonna load my finger up, I should say, not my. I'm gonna come right from the hip, from way back down here, man. Bam!
There you go.
All right. So I'm gonna start where you left off on that the Illinois game, because that was a game I kind of was looking at earlier, and I didn't really didn't come up with anything really, really solid on it. But one thing I do know, like to your point, that you have the top defense and the top offense in the Big 12, and now those numbers are going to start to skew a little bit because they're out of the cupcake leagues and all that garbage, So, but I do know this: I know Illinois has been playing some really good football, and they really haven't hit a big hiccup. I know Minnesota kind of hit a little bump in the road, but I just like catching points. When I got a team that's playing pretty good defense, or when a team's playing pretty good offense, and I can catch points with them, but that's not really the case with Minnesota. I mean, with Illinois. But I like a lot of the things that Illinois is doing. You know, they're playing typical Big Ten football, and they're catching points, and they're playing at home, I believe, in that spot, right? And they're catching points. That I like. I like that look on Illinois getting the points at home. I'm gonna put Minnesota on upset alert here because Bielema's going to have the troops ready. These are two motivational type coaches, that kind of rally troops. But I think if Illinois goes down early, I would look to maybe bet them live, because you might even get a 2-score spot. So right now it's sitting at 6.5, but just in case maybe the game gets away from them just a little bit early, I maybe look to bet Illinois live at a bigger plus number in that spot there. Then let's scroll up the list here. I'm not going to get involved too much with my boys up in Tallahassee this week because, I think they're looking – the problem with the FSU Clemson game is, like I said, even when they played Wake Forest, I said they got to play Wake Forest, they got to play NC State, and they got to play Clemson back-to-back. Those are all top-tier ranked teams, top 15 teams going in, and I knew if FSU won one of them, they would kind of creep back in the top 25, but they didn't. So this could be a rough spot for FSU. This could be, I'm not going to say getting ugly, but I'm surprised the line's only 3.5. Just from the outside looking in, I would have to lean Clemson in that spot. Just like I told you last week, I lean NC State. I would have put my money if I was gambling. I would bet them. I just have a hard time betting against FSU. It's just something that's stuck in my brain, I guess. I can't get it out of I can't get it through my veins. I can't get that nasty blood out of my veins to do that. So we talked about the Syracuse game. Here's an interesting game here, LSU and Florida. So now you got two teams here that are kind of philandering a little bit. I was on LSU, I believe, last week. They let me down a little bit, or it might have been a week before. But anyways, these two teams are evenly matched, I think, talent-wise. You got two quarterbacks. You got Daniels and you got Richardson. You got some of the inconsistencies. They present themselves, similar style play. They're out of the pocket, mobile quarterbacks, that can tuck it, run down the field, make it happen with their legs. You got Florida on the defensive line is pretty good. LSU is pretty good defensively against the pass. So, you got neutralizing factors there. So it's both of these games are going to be put on the quarterbacks, the back of the quarterback. And I just think with the 2.5, I would have to lean Florida here because they're playing in the swamp. And that's always just like if you played in Baton Rouge at nighttime, the swamp is a thing. I don't care what anybody says. Even though Florida's inconsistency present themselves time and time again, when they play right, they play good. So this, just because of the number, the 2.5 is real enticing to me here to maybe lay that with the Gators at home, and then I'll find one more spot here, and then we'll say goodnight to everybody. Let's see, Buffalo, maybe we talked about that one. That's it, man. That's primarily. Let's see if I can get us on a total with something. How about this Duke North Carolina game? So North Carolina went in and they took care of Miami, right? That was my best bet of the week was Miami, you motherfucker. Excuse my language. You took us down 3 points. You come off a bye, and that's you shit all over yourself. Shame on you, Miami. You won't get another penny of my money this season. But, hey, now Duke, Duke's not an across-town rival, but Duke's one of these teams where Elko's been coaching that team up. They've been playing good. Are they ready for prime time? I didn't think they were, but I think they can hang with North Carolina here. I think they could trade touchdowns with them. North Carolina, I think what ails them is going to make them better in the long run. The defense of North Carolina. I think Duke can play a little bit of defense too. So I still think we see a lot of points here. The total sitting at 67. I kind of think we see a shootout here in North Carolina. Up at Blue Devil Stadium. So look for Duke to not have their way with North Carolina, but I think Duke's offense is better than Miami's at this point in time this season. And I think we see points there. So I kind of lean over the total with the North Carolina Duke game.
That's it right there.